So damage to property. Key boxes affixed to external walls, as well as fire safety risks. I'm not sure entirely what fire safety risks means in this report, because I'm not entirely sure how a fire safety would be a problem from a key box. Now, bearing in mind, the government runs around and puts signage and bolts onto walls. They put street lights and bolt onto walls. They put CCTV cameras and bolt it onto walls. They're sticking 5G towers all throughout the country and sometimes bolting them to walls. So to suggest that a key safe is a danger when people have had all manner of things from sky dishes to outside hoses bolted to walls, it's just nonsense. I mean, it's actually laughable. I don't know if somebody hasn't reviewed this, but it's not based in the real world. I'm afraid that this is just nonsense. So, regulatory mismatch between short-term lets, hotels and B&B sector in terms of health and safety and taxation. I think that they're letting a little clue here on what their aim is. The only people that have a high opinion of health and safety are the health and safety officers. And I'm old enough to remember when health and safety was just common sense. And there's some things that are in the health and safety rulebook that are just ridiculous. Some of the things that they want to shut down and stop are plain bonkers. Now, on balance, there's some things in there that I think are absolutely spot on. But it's an example of some, a collection of things, some good, some not so good, and some just completely bordering on madness, like key boxes are going to cause damage to walls. It's just not based in fact. Poor visitor experience as well. They go on to say this. Poor visitor experience for guests and other visitors hoping for an immersive experience in local culture, and the ratio of guests to local residents is too high. I don't know. That's just somebody in a marketing department's come up with that. I don't know what they think. I've stayed in many short-term lets around the world. I'm not going round chapping the neighbours' doors looking for an immersive experience. If you are, I'd like to hear from you. But knowing what this industry is about and looking at it in detail and in depth, this is just complete madness. It's something that somebody's wrote to sound really good, and it's nuts. They go on to say enforcement of guest and host compliance with existing statutory and voluntary requirements, e.g. code of practice. Again, they're just pointing out that they want to start to implement more rules, and those rules are pointing to chaos. They're looking to solve a problem that doesn't exist. Because remember, as we discussed earlier, it's not a people, people are people. You have a problem customer, a problem client, a problem brother, a problem sister, a problem cousin, somebody you work with that's a problem. Like there's all sorts of people that are just havoc. There's just people who don't get on. So to say that this is refined or targeted on Airbnb style properties is just laughable. Loss of revenue to public authorities. For instance, the Barclay Review reported ineligible properties benefiting from small business bonus scheme. Well, what do you know? The government, who tax you for roads that they don't fix and tax your car that's to fix the roads and want to send you a council tax bill to your house that you've already paid for out your income tax, are now concerned about they're missing out. I think they're letting on about where this is going and why they want to get involved in it. They want to get their hooks in and implement rules so that they can bring in a taxation. And they want to be able to control who gets to play the game, and they want to control how much they can tax you for it. They do put this in here. Now, you always read the small print in these reports. It says, whilst it's clear that these issues are causing concern, I'm not entirely sure to who, because it seems to be within their own echo chamber, because we've just been able to dismantle the majority of them. There is not always objective evidence of the instances or severity of the reported problems. And that's bureaucrat speak for, we don't actually have evidence. And that is why that they don't have any references. So it translates that they don't actually have a problem. What they do have a problem with that that's not within question. They want to tax this. They're losing revenue and they want to tax it. You've taken a property that is now available for small business rate relief, and we want to tax it because we were getting council tax, now we're not. We don't like that. We want our money. And you know what? There's a lot of Airbnb hosts that if they said, look, we want, the 50, 80, 100 quid, whatever the council tax charge, we'll lift the bins and we'll do our bit, but we want you to pay that. You probably get a majority of them going, okay. But when you start to say, hey, look, you've purchased a property with your hard-earned money and you've managed to navigate all the taxes that we've put on you and levied on you, and you've been through a pandemic where we've issued all sorts of crazy and bonkers rules that didn't match the data, and we told you to trust the science. And now what you want to do is we want to bring in more rules to tax you further after you've saved up your money, purchased a property, you're paying a mortgage. The interest rates need to go up because our fiscal stimulus in terms of how we've deployed the capital, how we've deployed the relief and financial plans through COVID has now created a huge amount of money. So that's then created inflation, and now we're going to turn interest rates up. And guess what? Because interest rates are going up, your mortgage is going up. And what we want to do is ban you from renting out to somewhere where you could actually make the same money you would have done if the interest rates weren't turned up, i.e. short-term lets. And I know that we're driving the sector, and I know we've got Tourism Scotland, and I know we're trying to bring it in, and I know we've got gross domestic product, and I know we have the keys to the planning department and we can decide who builds it, and I know that we've got social housing stock, and I know that we're giving them to people that are asylum seekers and immigrants that are coming, across our borders without checks. I know that we're doing that, and I know that we're giving out welfare to them, and I know that we're doing that, but listen, we're short of cash. And we want you to put all that aside. We want to tax you. I think that we're getting closer to why people are pushing back. Maybe you didn't in detail see it like that. Maybe I'm showing you something that maybe intuitively you felt. Maybe you're just sick of these constant never-ending rules. Maybe the landlord rules that they brought in was the straw that broke the camel's back. But it's time now that we say, hey, look, enough's enough. And you can't really argue with it, because you look at what they've done since then, and they've set the date further and further back in terms of the guidance. There was a report in one of the news articles that said that there was going to be a holiday let collapse because only 50 people out of 15,000 applied for the license. That tells you, look, listen, the people have spoken. Remember, they lent you the power to carry out set of tasks, bring jobs, look after the country, check out make sure the services, street lights, look after the sick, and so on and so on and so on. And they've had enough because you're not doing your bit. And with the fallout of COVID and some of the rules that you brought in and some of the rules that you made and some of the things that you're doing, it's not sitting well with people. And they're pushing back. And this is a place that they're pushing back. People have had enough, because you can only come to two conclusions. You either don't know what you're doing, as we've shown, the data shows that you don't know what you're doing, or you're trying to destroy it. And people aren't going to stand by for that. They've had enough.